Not too long ago, just climbing a single flight of stairs would leave me completely breathless. My heart would pound like a drum in my chest, and I'd get so dizzy I'd have to lean against the wall just to catch my breath. I felt decades older than I actually was. It wasn't just being out of shape, it was a nagging fear in the back of my mind. That fear got very real during a routine checkup. My doctor looked over my results and his face was serious. He didn't sugarcoat it. When he said the words serious warning and cardiovascular health, a genuine panic about my future washed over me. I was scared, but what I found out next changed everything. I learned I didn't need a miracle or some impossibly strict, joyless diet. I just needed to understand a few simple things about nutrition. In this video, I'm going to share the exact tips that took me from being constantly winded and worried to getting the best checkup of my life. And I'll show you how you can feel this good too. It all started with a decision to stop being a victim of my own habits. That doctor's warning was the wake-up call I couldn't ignore. I went home that day feeling totally overwhelmed, staring into my pantry full of colorful boxes and bags that promised convenience but were secretly wrecking my health. I honestly thought I'd have to throw it all out and live on lettuce and water. But that's not what happened. The transformation wasn't about depriving myself, it was about empowering myself. It was about making a bunch of small, smart swaps and additions that, over time, made a huge difference. These aren't complicated scientific formulas. They're simple, practical steps anyone can take, starting today. I'm going to walk you through the 4 big changes I built my new heart-strong life on. And I promise, by the end of this, you'll see that you have the power to do this too. My first and most important rule was to ditch the ultra-processed stuff and embrace real, whole foods. So, what does that even mean? Think of it this way. A whole food is something that still looks like it came from nature. An apple, a stalk of broccoli, a chicken breast, a handful of almonds. Ultra-processed food is made in a factory with a long list of ingredients you can't pronounce. These foods are designed to be addictive, but they're also loaded with things that stress our hearts. Too much sodium, unhealthy fats, and tons of added sugar. Study after study shows that eating a lot of these foods is directly linked to a higher risk of cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, and strokes. In fact, each additional daily serving of ultra-processed food can increase the risk of heart disease. My life used to run on convenience. Microwave dinners, packaged snacks, sugary cereals, and soda were my daily fuel. I told myself I was too busy to cook, but the truth is I was just stuck in a habit. My first step wasn't some dramatic pantry purge, it was a simple swap. Instead of my usual bag of chips in the afternoon, I had an apple and a handful of almonds. Instead of sugary cereal for breakfast, I switched to plain oatmeal with berries. It sounds almost too small to matter, but the effect was huge. I felt fuller for longer. I didn't get that mid-afternoon energy crash. This one simple idea, choosing foods that are as close to their natural state as possible, is the foundation of a heart-healthy diet. Try to fill your plate with a rainbow of fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. It's not about being perfect, it's about making the real food choice more often than the processed one. The second big change was getting a handle on my sodium, and this was a real eye-opener. Most of us think the salt we should worry about is what we shake onto our food, but that's just a tiny fraction of what we eat. The vast majority, over 70% for the average person, comes hidden in processed and restaurant foods. Think of your blood vessels as a plumbing system. Too much sodium makes your body hold onto extra water, which increases the volume of blood flowing through those pipes. This forces your heart to work harder and raises the pressure on your artery walls, what we all know as high blood pressure. Over time, this constant strain can lead to stiff arteries, heart failure, and stroke. The American Heart Association recommends that most adults get no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day, but ideally we should aim for closer to 1,500 milligrams, especially if we already have high blood pressure. I thought I was doing okay. I wasn't adding much salt at the table, but when I actually started reading labels, I was shocked. My healthy canned soups, my bread, my sauces, they were all loaded with sodium. So I became a sodium detective. I started consciously picking no salt added or low sodium versions of things like canned beans and tomatoes. I also started exploring the world of flavor beyond the salt shaker. My kitchen is now full of garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, chili flakes, and dried herbs. You'd be amazed at how much flavor you can build without a single grain of extra salt. This isn't about eating bland food, it's about taking control of the flavor yourself and giving your heart a much-needed break. The third pillar of my turnaround was understanding fat. For decades, we were all taught that fat is the enemy. But that's just not true. Your body needs fat to function. It's all about choosing the right kind. Let's go back to that plumbing analogy. Think of saturated and trans fats as thick, sticky grease you pour down the drain. Over time, it builds up and clogs the pipes. These are the fats found in red meat, full-fat dairy like cheese and butter, fried foods, and a lot of packaged baked goods. They directly contribute to raising your LDL, or bad cholesterol, which is a major risk factor for heart disease. On the other hand, unsaturated fats, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated, are like a cleaning crew for your pipes. They help reduce bad cholesterol levels and even have anti-inflammatory properties. These are the healthy fats you find in olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish like salmon. My diet used to be a festival of saturated fat. Fried chicken, cheesy pasta, and buttery toast were my jam. My big swap was making extra virgin olive oil my main cooking fat. Instead of slathering butter on my toast, I started mashing half an avocado on it. It felt incredibly indulgent, but it was a heart-healthy choice. I replaced creamy, store-bought dressings with a simple homemade vinaigrette of olive oil and lemon juice. I started eating salmon a couple of times a week, giving my body a powerful dose of omega-3 fatty acids. This wasn't about eliminating fat. It was about a strategic and delicious upgrade. A Harvard study found that replacing just 5% of saturated fat with polyunsaturated fats can reduce the risk of heart disease by 25%. Even small, consistent changes can deliver measurable benefits. The final and maybe most underrated principle was to seriously boost my fiber intake. Fiber is a type of carb your body can't digest, and it is an absolute superhero for your heart. There are two types, and you want both. Soluble fiber, found in things like oats, beans, apples, and Brussels sprouts, dissolves in water and forms a gel in your digestive system. Think of this gel as a sponge. As it moves through your body, it soaks up bad LDL cholesterol and helps carry it out before it can clog your arteries. Insoluble fiber, found in whole grains and veggies, helps with digestion and keeps you feeling full, which is a huge help for maintaining a healthy weight. Another key factor for heart health. My old diet was what you might call fiber deficient. It was full of white bread, white rice, and hardly any vegetables or beans. My simple swap here started at breakfast. I traded my sugary cereal for a bowl of oatmeal, which is packed with soluble fiber. For lunch, instead of a sandwich on white bread, I'd have a big salad loaded with greens, veggies, and chickpeas. I made a real effort to make sure half of my plate at every meal was filled with vegetables. I swapped white rice for quinoa or brown rice. These weren't hard changes. Adding a can of rinsed, no salt-added beans to a soup or tossing a handful of spinach into pasta sauce are super easy ways to get more fiber. Eating more fiber kept my blood sugar stable, my energy levels consistent, and my heart protected. According to the Mayo Clinic, people who eat a high-fiber diet have significantly lower cholesterol levels and reduced long-term cardiovascular risk. Fast forward to today. Remember those stairs that used to be my personal Everest? Now, I take them 2 at a time without even thinking about it. That constant fatigue that I just assumed was a normal part of getting older is completely gone. I wake up feeling rested and energized. But the best moment of all was at my follow-up with my doctor. He pulled up my new lab results and a huge smile spread across his face. He looked at me and said, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. These are the best numbers I've seen from you in years." My blood pressure was down, my cholesterol was in a healthy range, and the strain on my heart was visibly reduced. It was real, tangible proof. It wasn't a magic pill that did it. It was the result of all those small, smart choices I made every day. Swapping the chips for an apple, reading the sodium label, cooking with olive oil, and adding beans to my chili. This journey has taught me that taking control of your heart health isn't about some painful, miserable overhaul. It's about being mindful. It's about understanding the why behind your food choices and then making small, consistent shifts that build up over time. It's about choosing foods that nourish you. If I can go from being breathless on the stairs and terrified in a doctor's office to feeling this vibrant and alive, you absolutely can too. It all starts with one small change. Our goal is to help more people like you, but we also need your support. I'm curious, what's one small change you could make this week after hearing this? Maybe it's swapping soda for water or trying oatmeal for breakfast. Let me know in the comments below. Your story might just be the inspiration someone else needs to start their own journey. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing for more simple, actionable tips to take back control of your health. Thanks for watching, and here's to a stronger heart.